Hello, Miami University and all of Oxford community. I'm Hallie.
And I'm Greer, your co-host for tonight's show. Welcome back to Miami Television News.
This week, sororities and fraternities across campus celebrated Greek Week here at Miami. Greek Week is an annual tradition of competitions, performances, and philanthropy. This year was celebrated with dodgeball, bike races, banner-making competition, and much more.
Miami's MAP Club hosts many events and is responsible for bringing guest speakers to Miami, like Hank Green and Jeanette McCurdy. MTN reporter Mason Maloney spoke to MAP member Shelby Ayers about how they host their great events and bring famous people out to Oxford.
Hi, my name is Mason Maloney. I'm here with MTN, and today we are interviewing
Shelby Ayers, and I'm with MAP, or Miami Activities and Programming.
So, Shelby, could you tell us a little bit about the organization and what it does for Miami?
Yeah, of course. So, Miami Activities and Programming basically does a lot of different things on campus. We are able to be completely student-run. We put on lots of different activities, sometimes multiple a week, for students that either want a creative outlet or want to meet new people or just want to find like-minded individuals. And we just try to put on fun activities for students.
Yes, that's awesome. So could you tell me about your involvement in the club and how long you've been a part of it and what you like about it?
Yeah. So this semester, I will have been involved for about 4 total semesters. I joined the spring semester of my sophomore year. So I've been involved for 4, going to be involved for 5 once I finish. I wanted to get involved because as a freshman, I'd seen different MAP events going on around campus and kind of wondered what it was all about. After attending a few, especially during COVID, it really helped me meet people when it was hard to even interact with anybody. And so then I realized that they were recruiting in the spring semester. So I decided to sign up and try my interview, and luckily I got in, and I've enjoyed it ever since.
Awesome. So how do you guys at MAP get such cool guests like Jeanette McCurdy from iCarly?
That's a good question. I actually wasn't aware of this until a little while ago, especially when we got Jeanette. What happens is MAP can't necessarily just like DM a celebrity, like, even if it's like a smaller scale celebrity. We like to say that we have like a contact in the entertainment world.
Okay.
Basically what they do is they kind of help us negotiate with Jeanette McCurdy, for example. They'll help us pick out someone who has like more likelihood of being able to visit. Like we can't get some like huge celebrity like Kim Kardashian to visit or anything like that. But the person in the entertainment industry can help us kind of negotiate and see who would work with our schedule. And then once it goes through and they're able to come, then we can kind of go from there and secure it. But since it's completely student run, we have a director for each kind of event. So Eva Cole was our student director for the Jeanette McCurdy event. So she basically takes the reins on that and sets it in motion, and that's how we get people like Jeanette.
Great. And then do you guys have any fun events coming up that you'd like to shed some light on?
We do actually. We always have fun events.
Yes.
But we do have a lot actually coming up with Family Weekend this upcoming weekend. We have like a picnic, we're helping out with the farmer's market, we have a family festival, and that's this Friday and Saturday. And then flash forward to next week, we have on Thursday pumpkin painting in Central Quad, and then the following day is Fallin' for Goggin, which is just like a big fall festival that's in the Rec Quad.
Oh, awesome. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So I'm Mason Maloney, and this is Shelby Ayers, and thank you so much for meeting with us today in MTN, and we loved learning a little bit more about MAP.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Be sure to check out MAP on social media at Miami MAP for more updates on upcoming events.
Miami's homecoming weekend was October 7th to 9th and brought many festivities with it. Notable events included the return of the homecoming parade, the first ever Oxtoberfest, and a home football game against Kent State. In the coming week, Miami will be hosting Family Weekend. Some notable events include the Love and Honor Cup Awards, a home football game against Western Michigan, and a magic show by David Anthony. Be sure to visit Miami's website for more information and events for Family Weekend 2022. And now a sports update from the MTN Sports team.
Thanks, Hallie, and welcome to the MTN Sports Recap. The Miami Redhawks women's volleyball team was back in action this weekend with a doubleheader at home at Millett Hall against Eastern Michigan. The first set in Game 1 was a close one, but ultimately Miami fell in the set 28-26. The second set was also close, but once again Miami fell short 25-22. The third set was not close, as Eastern Michigan would win all 3 sets, closing the third set with a 25-11 victory. Leaders for the Redhawks in kills were Allison Severance with 12 kills and Ellie Hansen with 10 kills. The leader in digs for the Redhawks was Jacqueline Krumenauer with 13. Game 2 would be the following day, and the first set was once again a close one, but Miami once again could not close the deal and dropped the set 25-22. The second and the third sets were not close, as Miami once again lost in 3 sets. Second set was 25-17, while the third was 25-16. Abby Strafford led the way with kills with 10, while Margot Lawson led the way in digs with 9, as Miami fell to a 6-13 record overall, with a 1-7 record in the MAC, with games against Bowling Green and Central Michigan coming up. In other news, the Redhawks football team was back on the road against Bowling Green after their homecoming victory against Kent State. Once again, however, Miami struggled on offense, not having 100 yards in either passing or rushing, as Adion Smith went 9 for 17 with 91 pass yards. However, the Redhawks were ahead in the fourth quarter before allowing a late touchdown and would go on to lose 17-13. The Redhawks fell to 3-4 overall with a 1-2 record in the MAC. They go back to Yager Stadium to take on Western Michigan on Family Weekend. And now I pass the baton to Edward with field hockey.
Thanks, Ethan. On Friday, Miami's field hockey team faced Kent State in a bid to stop their 2-game skid. After a scoreless first period, Lulu Rosso cracked the scoreboard off a deflection from a pass from Claudia Negrete Garcia. The score would hold until the third period, when Kent State's Patricia Strunk set went past Miami goalkeeper Isabel Perese. However, that was all Perese would allow, as she made 7 saves on the day with only the 1 goal slipping through. Miami scored the decisive goal in the 56th minute when Paula Peña Martinez scored her team-leading 10th goal of the season. The score held, and the girls had themselves a 2-1 win. With this W, Miami moved to 8-6 on the season with a 4-1 record in the MAC. The team also stayed perfect at home with a 7-0 record. The team's only struggles have been on the road, where they managed a measly 1-6 record. Garcia and Martinez showed off their skills as the leaders of this team. The 2 Spanish natives each had north of 20 points on the season, well above the rest of the team. The Hawks are tied for the top spot in the MAC, thanks to these 2 strikers. Miami will play at Central Michigan on Friday, who sits dead last in the MAC. This will be a golden opportunity to pick up a road win before traveling to Michigan State for a Big Ten matchup. Now here's Mason with the rest of the sports updates.
As October slowly comes to a close, do not forget about supporting your local Redhawks sports teams in their upcoming events. The tennis team will be traveling to Knoxville, Tennessee for the ITA Ohio Regional Championships, where they'll be playing for 6 days in a row. The diving team will be competing in Indianapolis this Thursday at 2 p.m. We will also see our volleyball team take on Central Michigan back-to-back at 6 o'clock this Saturday and at 3 o'clock this Sunday. Both away events can be live streamed through the Miami Redhawk website. Home or away, do not forget to go out there and root for our fellow Redhawks. Be on the lookout for more sports news in our next show, and be sure to check back in the future for Redhawk athlete interviews here in studio. Also check out MTN's social media platforms for more sports and news reports. Back to you, Hallie.
Thanks, Mason.
On Tuesday, October 11th, Miami Center for Diversity, Inclusion, and Spectrum co-hosted an event for National Coming Out Day. The event, held at Upham Arch and the Seal, featured photo ops, giveaways, community resources, and more. Check out @MU_CSDI on Instagram for more information and upcoming events.
Miami's club ultimate frisbee team, the Boogeyman, hosted their annual tournament, Boogie Nights at Chestnut Fields. The tournament brought teams from schools across Ohio, such as Xavier, UC, and Ohio State. Club teams and Miami alumni team also participated. The Boogeymen put up a strong performance against very tough opponents.
Miami students are well adjusted to sharing the sidewalks with many furry friends, especially service animals. Paws For is the reason students see so many service dogs in training around campus. The organization has many activities and opportunities around campus, and they are currently in the process of creating a new dog park in Oxford. Joining us tonight is the president and secretary of Paws For a Cause, Marilyn Coons and Cassidy Waldrop.
Thanks, Greer. Today I'm joined by 2 guests from Paws For a Cause. Marilyn, the president of Paws For, and Cassidy, the secretary. So thank you guys for coming out today. I really appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
So what inspired or motivated your organization to decide to build this dog park that you guys are in the process of building?
So our dogs, unfortunately, are not allowed to play in regular dog parks, mainly because we don't know if those dogs have been vaccinated or if they have any other underlying issues. So they're only allowed to play in enclosed spaces that aren't dog parks. So we were thinking, like, it's so hard sometimes when we have, like, we go to Kramer's playground, and if there's kids there, then we have to leave. Or we could have classrooms, but it's hard then if there's a class. So it's really hard to find a good place to take them that we know we can always take them there. So we thought, hey, like, a dog park would be great because it's only allowed for service dogs. And then also other people in the area, if they have a service dog, they could bring the dog to play as well. So that was the underlying thought. And it's taken a while, but it's finally in the process of getting done. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. Do you guys have a timeline where you're looking at for a sort of completion date for this project?
So yeah, it's been pushed back multiple times, but hopefully it'll be the end of October, beginning of November at the absolute latest. It just took some time for contractors making sure that the fence posts were in, and then just making sure everything was up to code and perfect.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So Paws For Cause, you guys recently got new puppies in. So tell me about what's your process of recruiting puppies? Like, what do you look for in a puppy to say that's a good service dog?
So it's interesting. So what we do is we work with 4 organizations: Guiding Eyes for the Blind, Circle Tail, Doulabon Service Dogs, and then For Paws For Ability and Xenia. Our sitters and our fosters are trained through them, and they can actually reach out to the organization and ask to foster a dog. So for example, with Palmer, who I have with me right here, my roommate, Kennedy Miller, she's our vice president, reached out to Doulabon Service Dogs and said, hey, I'm willing to take a dog full time. And they match them up with the breed they want, the age they're most comfortable with, and stuff like that. So we actually don't do anything with figuring out what puppies to bring to campus, but we do assist new fosters and sitters and how to handle that and stuff like that.
Right, and I imagine it's quite a bit of trouble working with a lot of puppies all the time. So how do you go about, or what's different in your approach when you're working with a puppy versus when you're working with a grown dog, let's say?
Lots of patience. Lots of patience. Because you have to remember, they're only capable of so much. So with the bigger dogs, you can expect that they know these commands, and they're always going to be accurate or very close to accurate, and always not perfect, but very precise in that. While the puppies, they're kind of can be loose cannons. You never know, like, if they're fully potty trained. Like, you really hope they don't have an accident, but it's bound to happen. So it just takes time getting to know the dog, because once you know the dog, then it's a lot easier, because then you know their habits as well as what to look out for. So yeah, it's complex, but once you get used to it and get used to working with puppies, you start to learn the behaviors quicker and what to expect.
Yeah, that's great. So you've brought 2 furry friends into the studio today. So tell me about them and how long you guys have been working with them and what they're like.
Yeah, so this is Palmer, the one who doesn't want to stay settled. He is a 5.5-month-old English cream golden retriever. My roommate and I are co-fostering him, which means that we both share the responsibilities. That's one thing that our members can do. You don't have to just have a dog full-time 24/7, because that can be a lot, and we understand that. Palmer, come here. He is through Doulabon Service Dogs, which is an org up in northern Ohio. Had him for about 2 months now, and we're getting there. We're working on a lot of scariness. We get scared of walking on grates and going up to big scary trees and bushes, but we're working on it.
So this is Willet. She's almost 7 months old. She's a golden lab. She's with 4 Paws For Ability. And right now we're working with not chasing leaves, but she's not my personal dog. I actually just weekend foster now. I fostered 3, but now I just either weekend foster or sit. But let's see, she's been on campus for almost 2 months, and she's doing good. She just gets sometimes distracted, but she's still a baby, so that's expected.
Yeah, that's great. They seem like they're enjoying their time in the studio here. So when you guys are getting down to placing a service dog with a person, how do you approach placing a certain dog with a certain person?
So we don't actually do that. So our job is to socialize them and prepare them for advanced training. So when they go to advanced training, that's typically when they figure that out. They look to see what the dog does best. Like one dog might be best at searching or seizure alert or diabetic alert or mobility assistance. So they really see what the dog fits best to do. So we don't personally place them, but if they do go into advanced training, they look at what they think the dog will do best. And then they take that into consideration to pair them with their best person. So let's say she's really good with mobility assistance and she loves children. So she would be better to go than obviously with a child. So they just keep in mind like what exactly it is that are her strengths, and then use that.
Yeah, to add on to that, it's really cool because as a primary, someone that does have a dog full-time or even a co-foster, you can assist in that process in little ways. You have to fill out monthly forms, weekly forms, I think, actually, that have to go to the organizations that talk about your dog's strengths, your dog's weaknesses, and that in the end is going to assist the advanced trainers to place the dog. So even though at the end of the day we're not the ones picking, it is cool because you still do, you get to have that impact.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I'm sure after seeing these guys, that a lot of students at Miami are going to be really interested in working with Paws for a Cause. So what's the best way for students here to get involved with your organization? And what are maybe some events you guys got planned?
So yeah, one of the easiest ways is check us out on the hub.
Yes.
That's where you get added to our email list once you join, and then from our email list, we'll send you like our website. Our website's super helpful for any questions. Basically, any question you'll have is on our website. So they can check out those two. They can also, on the hub, look, and our contact information is there if they just want to email us to see, hey, I'm not sure if I'm super interested or not, so they can check us out there.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Our next meeting, we always have our meetings on the first of the month, so it would be, I think, like November something, 5th, 6th, something like that. We always have them from 2 to 3 in McGuffey 322.
Every Sunday.
Yeah, on the Sunday. So everyone's welcome. You don't necessarily have to be a member yet, and we talk more about the org and how to get involved. Events coming up, we have Halloween tabling on October 31st. That'll be in Armstrong outside of the Emporium. So we'll have the dogs there, and we'll also be selling merch, and our wonderful merch chair, Taylor, is making stickers of all the dogs. So we'll be selling those there. I'm trying to think of any other
fun events we typically do. We're going to the Newport Aquarium,
yes.
which is a lot of fun. The dogs love, especially the dogs that love water, they love just staring at it and watching like the fish play in it. We also go to the zoo. We'll be doing that in the spring. We just got done with Butterfield Farms, which was a lot of fun. A lot of the dogs really like the cows, or they were scared of them. There was like no in between. But we always have different opportunities for them. We definitely like to help out too, like at the police station, they come help us sometimes, or the fire department, just helping socialize them with the weird noises. But we always have different events, and it just depends on what's going on as well.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun stuff. Thank you guys for coming in the studio and bringing the dogs with you. We appreciate you guys coming around.
Yeah,
thanks
of course.
for having us.
Thank you for having us.
For more information on Paws for a Cause or to get involved with the organization, check out their Instagram at Paws for a Cause, Miami.
Redhawk Radio is hosting a 24-hour telethon starting on October 21st at 10 a.m. The telethon will not only include live radio shows, but also hourly trivia, special guest speakers, including a Hot Ones interview with President Crawford, various debates, roast segments, and more. 50% of the proceeds benefit the Oxford Food Pantry, so you won't want to miss it. Next, in studio, we have Sam Lawrence, a Miami University sophomore and candidate for State House Representative for Ohio's 47th District. MTN's Hannah Horsington is here with Sam to get us caught up on the latest news in his campaign.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Sam Lawrence, not his first time in studio. So can you just tell us a little bit about what's been going on since the last time you were here?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you all for having me back. It's great to be here. You're right, this is not my first time in the studio. This is my second interview here, and we have been up to quite a lot at Team Sam headquarters throughout these past 10 months running this campaign. Myself, I'm running for state representative here in the 47th district. That is Oxford, Hamilton, and the 4 surrounding townships. I've got a team of upwards of 40 people, staff, both students and residents here in the district, and we are covering ground in every single corner. We are knocking on doors. We've got billboards up. We've got ads going out, and we're doing everything we can to elect a fresh new voice to the State House.
Wow. So for any of our new viewers, can you just remind them a little bit about why you are wanting to run for public office?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge question, and I think it's more of I look at our government, whether it be our state government or our federal government, and I think there's not enough young people being represented, and I believe that we do deserve a spot at the table. You have to be 18 to run for the House here in Ohio, and I did so. I'm now 19, but we've been enjoying the benefits of this campaign. We've been reaching out to people across the state, across the nation, who are so excited to see Gen Z rising to the occasion and running for not just state rep, but school boards and township trustees, city council offices. It's great seeing young people get into government, and that's my overall goal here.
Great. So one of your main opponents, Sarah, is a local to Butler County. She's lived here her whole life. And then you are not originally from this area, correct?
Correct.
All right. So what do you think that will have in terms of an effect on your campaign? Do you think it does have any effect? And do you think people will take into account a candidate's familiarity with the area?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, Sarah is now my only opponent since we've had our primaries, and it's officially me against her. And we met on the debate stage just a few days ago, and I think I proved that I can adequately represent the people of this district. I first pointed out when she tried to take a cheap shot at me and tell me I only lived in a dorm that I was doing the debate from my own house. I have a permanent residence, and also I moved to this place when I could, when I legally could, when I was 18. This is my home. I've chosen it, and what I think really matters is who's willing to do the work for Butler County. For over the past 10 months, I have been going out. I have been running a real campaign as opposed to her non-campaign. We've been talking to voters. We've been seeing what issues are more important to them. She thinks she can flex the fact that she was born in the city of Hamilton and nothing else. Really, I want to work for the people of this district, and I'm very glad they've welcomed me with open arms to this place.
Yeah, so you referred to Oxford as your chosen home. How do you think this chosen home has affected you over the past 2 years? What have you learned by being in this community? And with that, what do you hope to take forward if you are elected?
Yeah, I think a lot of the people in this community have almost lost interest in politics, whether it be Oxford, Hamilton, just generally in Southwest Ohio, because they feel like there aren't any competitive races. They feel like their vote doesn't matter. First of all, I think we've cured that by making this a competitive race. This was a district that absolutely no one was looking at prior to this election cycle, and we've run such a good campaign. We've had such good outreach and such good support from our state and local party that I believe we've turned it into an unlikely battleground, and I think that gets people riled up, whether they're Democrats, Republicans, or independents. Yes, I'm a Democrat, I'm proudly one, and I recognize this is a red district, but we're running an actual campaign where my opponent is not. I'm happy that every single day we are increasing our vote share. We are really doing the work and getting boots on the ground, and that's what's win you elections.
So if you are elected, how are you planning to balance being a college student and being an elected official?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, right now I'll start off by saying this is absolutely the busiest time of my life. Campaigns are a real burden, but it's also been fun and it's been exciting getting out to see what everybody has to think. But I'll point out that most of our representatives that are elected right now already have another job. They're teachers, they're lawyers, they're doctors. They might have another sort of job, but essentially there aren't many who are just state representatives. So I'll claim that this isn't the craziest thing that's ever happened. There has been one person elected to the Ohio House at the age of 18. And our current U.S. Senator, Sherrod Brown, who's endorsed my campaign, was actually elected to the Ohio House at 22. So obviously I will be busy, but just like with this campaign where I have so many great staff to help me out and take a lot of that burden off my back, I'll have the same when I'm elected.
It's pretty cool to say that your classmate is an elected official. So that is about all we have time for today. Is there anything else that you just want to tell our viewers about yourself or about your campaign as it's starting to come to a close?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm running to represent the exhausted majority. I'm running for Democrats, Republicans, and independents. If you're a student like me at Miami University, or if you live in the newly drawn District 47, I'd love for you to check out samforohio.com or follow us on all social media at samforohio. I'd love to have your vote, and we've got 20 days till this election. I cannot wait to share my victory with you all.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and back to you guys.
That's all we have for you today. Thank you for tuning in to Miami Television News. Be on the lookout for more Miami news in the weeks to come. I'm Greer.
And I'm Hallie. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at MiamiNTN. Check back with us next week for more in-studio interviews, campus news, and the latest sports coverage.